host for Rooted in Revenue. And today I am privileged to have for guests people that I am a fan of. And if any of you have followed the show, you know my past, and that's that I had an art gallery in Laguna Beach decades and decades ago. But it never left me the fact that I love getting to know artists, understanding their art, their craft, what drives them, what led them to making this an actual income producing endeavor, transitioning from hobbies. And when we moved to Oregon, I don't have a gallery, of course, because I don't want to be in retail, but I go to a lot of art shows. And one of the ones I went to where I met my guests today, Piper and Jared from Joyride Jewelry, was Art in the Pearl. And I fell in love with their art, their story, their booth, their display, and what their art is made from, because in our family we are big fans of old cars. So enough, it's time to let you guys talk. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Susan. We're happy to be here.
Great. So we get to, I feel like I'm on a field trip. I get to go to your studio right now. So we're in your studio. If you're watching on video, those of you on audio, so sad, you'll have to go check out their website, and which is joyridejewelry.com. But you have a pile in front of you. And I'm wondering, for those that have not had the chance to go see what you're all about yet, can you give us a little bit of what led to Joyride Jewelry? First, what is Joyride Jewelry? And then we can get the backstory.
Go.
Joyride Jewelry is us, essentially. Together, we make and create jewelry using metal from old cars that we personally salvage from the junkyard. So we go to the junkyard and we're generally looking out for great colors more than we are the best car, because we always leave the original car paint intact on all of our jewelry. And we just believe that tells a great story and is a great connection for so many of our customers. So it's really fun.
And just to clarify, this is Piper's idea.
Oh, right.
She came up with this concept. I'm actually like a painter and a sculptor, and I was doing art shows for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, and she was we were always drawn to each other because we were creative, but she was like looking for her thing to try to build a business out of. And she came up with this idea. She made a bunch of jewelry, and all of a sudden she's at these art shows with me selling her jewelry to all the artists out behind my booth. And I'm like, I think you're onto something. Everybody seems to like it. We started doing art shows actually with 2 booths till about 2011, and she was doing it all by herself and couldn't really keep up, was having trouble with using tin snips to do everything. And we were like, oh, we need to take this to the next level. I need to be helping you. We need to come up with better concepts so you can do this a little bit longer, because you're on the path of self-destruction trying to cut all this steel with tin snips. So yeah, so 2011, that's when I came in, and we've been doing it together ever since.
Wow. Okay. So let's get back though to your original art, Jared, sculpting.
Yep.
And what medium did you work in?
I was a painter and a sculptor, so I've worked in acrylics, watercolors, clay. I've done some bronze, found object stuff. So yeah.
All right.
All kinds of stuff. And now I make a lot of jewelry.
You do. But you can see it's sculptural. I mean, it's wearable art is what your jewelry is. I'm always drawn to wearable art because I want a story, and your customers want a story that they can tell people, that you send. When they send jewelry to you guys, when you buy your first piece from them, you will get a little card, and it'll tell you what cars were used in your piece of jewelry, in your art that you get to wear. And I keep every one of those cards.
Nice.
I have a little stack of them, and I review them periodically because I'll forget. Like right now, I'm wearing one of my favorite pieces from you.
Oh, nice.
I love the heart pendant, and it's different on both sides. It's not perfect on one side because, like you said, you leave them natural. as found state, I should say, not natural, but and
Right.
then these I love because they're two-tone. But
There
there's
you go.
rarely a day that I couldn't wear your art.
Awesome. That's what, and ultimately, I think we love the idea that it stands on its own before it is, oh, it stands on its own. Look at this as a piece of sculptural art. And then you're like, oh, and it has this great backstory and history and all the other stuff that goes along with that, memories and
Right.
different, not even our stories, but your stories too, because we get that back from people all the time, which is super cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you live in a community and but your art shows are everywhere. So you travel a few times a year for these big shows, correct?
We used to travel for big
Okay.
shows. We've had a bunch of changes since the pandemic, just like everybody, I'm
Right.
sure.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to tell?
Yes. The pandemic hit, and obviously we were like, wow, we are out of a job, was our first initial thought.
We were actually leaving for a show when they were like
Oh,
lockdown. Yeah, we were
Yeah.
going to Houston to do a show.
So we quickly had to pivot and figure out how to keep our business going, like so many other people. And luckily, we already had a website set up and we had already been selling from our website and had a pretty good customer base through collecting emails over the years. And so we were already doing that. And thank goodness, because that just really set us up already for where we're at and what we're doing now. But luckily, we received a few grants that really just pushed us to figure out how to sell our work online. And it's something we had been wanting to do. Selling our work at art fairs is has its ups and downs, but
right.
it's a lot of work and it's a lot of stress. And we felt like there wasn't great rhythm
And
with
and
our lifestyle.
and just like everybody, we were trying to find a little bit more balance. Maybe we weren't totally trying to get rid of art shows, but that's how it worked. Like the whole
Right.
idea, you're a marketing person. They talk about the idea of creating scarcity. We didn't have to make that up. We didn't have to make that up. It just became that way because all of a sudden you're selling online. And what we used to do before is we'd do shows and we'd work at home for 6 months building this inventory. Then we'd go do shows for 6 months. And that was how we did things. So it was either on or off. And now that we're online, it's go time all the time. We had to transition to how we were doing things, and we definitely liked the transition that it did because it gave us a lot more freedom to be like creating one of a kinds and doing the special pieces that you love and
Yeah.
everybody else loves. And that's, more than, oh, we need this much inventory for each show because we're going to sell this. It
Right.
became a little bit more free in the sense of being artists. So
I would
we
think
feel
so.
blessed that way.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
would think because that's one of the reasons I got out of retail. You had to show up, you had to be there, and you didn't know if
Yeah.
everybody's going to buy or not, but you're still there and you can't go
Yeah.
anywhere else. And that doesn't feel good because you've already committed to how you're going to do it and try and generate business. And with artists, it's so different. I work with a lot of B2B companies and software companies and consulting firms. It's a totally different thing when it's an artist. And what I found over the years, and I still find it, is most artists, the one thing that they lack is that ability to transition to the business side of it and to
Mhm.
say, okay, this is really a legit business. We have to keep records differently. We have to keep our contacts differently. We need to actually develop some type of CRM to know, okay, who's actually clicking? Are they the ones buying? Are they the ones doing this? Are they sharing it out? What's the journey of that information that we send out? And to be able to
Mhm.
look at all that to say, okay, this was super popular. We need more of these types of things. Was it the headline that did it? Was it the image that did it? Was it both? And your super fans become your marketing arm.
Yeah.
And and
Truly.
you guys, because of your personalities, It gets back to that. Don't be a jerk. Everybody wants to be with you if you're not a jerk.
Sure.
People want to
It's
deal with
pretty
artists that
easy,
aren't.
right?
Should be. But if you have that and talent and price points that resonate, because it is a splurge for me. I'll admit that. It's
Yeah.
do I
Yeah.
do this or this? But
Yeah.
hey, that was a great thing and that was a big contract. I'm going to buy something to demonstrate that win.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when those things happen, you guys are the first place I go.
Totally.
And it's different for artists. So tell me about, let's talk a little bit about that transition from when we go from two different booths. You're trying to make a go of it, Piper. Jared's seeing where it's happening. You decide to come together. At what point did you also say, okay, this really needs to be official? We have to buckle down and get all these things in place, because you talked about getting grants. And for artists, I don't even know if all artists know you can get grants. And
Right.
is that why
Right.
you got it? Was it a community grant? Can you tell us a little bit about these pieces?
I think part of it was like sympathy. One of the things that happens, not necessarily the grant, but getting money to move forward with this business. The first thing that happened was my dad gave us his stimulus check and was like, "You guys need this more than us." And we're
Oh,
like, "No, we don't really need your money. We're fine. We'll be fine for a year." We
yeah.
set ourselves up to be like, okay, we're a small business. We have to set ourselves up for those times when something goes wrong. So we had some savings, but he gave us a little bit and we're like, okay, what are we going to do with this? And so we were like, let's spend it on the business. That's what we have to do. That's what this is for. So we did a little bit of marketing, and then we were lucky enough to live in Montana during that time of the pandemic, and they had grants for actually not even artists, but for small business.
Okay.
And so we applied for that for our small business. Just had to show a little bit of hardship and show that we use that money towards something. And it was a lot of connection too, because we met this lady that's helping us with our marketing through a gallery that we were working with. And the only reason she was doing it is because she was learning all this marketing stuff for a vacation rental that they were building, which obviously went on hold as soon as the pandemic happened. So it was just like this opportunity to be like, we're artists. We're not super rich. We run a business. It does give us a lifestyle that we like. And I think that's probably the most important thing. But we were also like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of money. That like marketing is expensive. It's not
Yeah.
cheap to do. So this person was a little bit at a discount at that time. And we jumped on board and it started working. And holy moly, it changed. It sent us in. We had always wanted to do this. I think it was like a 10-year, 20-year plan to get to that. And then boom, it happened in a year.
And you said yes.
Yeah. Yeah. It started working. So we were like, it's hard to turn around once something starts working. You're like, okay, and we weren't sure if we were going to go back to shows at that point or not. And eventually it just showed itself that we couldn't even make enough inventory now to go do shows. It's a terrible problem to have, but it is the reality of it. So
It is.
And I think, to back up to your question also, I think from the get-go of both of us starting our business, our two separate booths, that was our business, his
Yeah.
business, my business. And from the get-go, we really dedicated ourselves to this and knew that it was something we really wanted to do. And we were serious about it from the beginning in wanting to make it work and have that business sense. Because I think it's something a lot of artists don't have, like you said.
yeah, yeah.
And we were also lucky enough we took a business course through the Chamber of Commerce.
There we go.
Before we even started
Doing our art. Yeah. We were going to open a tomato farm, a mushroom farm. We had all kinds of ideas. We knew we wanted to do something, our own business.
Mhm.
Yeah. And we had written actually an award-winning business plan in that class. And
I think that sent us on the trajectory for
yeah,
being successful at what we do now.
And I know when we got married and we went to Hawaii and we were sitting on the beach, and I think I looked at her and I was like, I don't know if I want to do a farm. I still want to be an artist. When we came home, that's what we started. That's how we started that journey. Yeah.
Wow.
It's interesting. I feel like a lot of things over the years for us in our business it's been a lot of hard work, but it's also been a lot of just luck and serendipity and things just working out and happening and just feeling, I don't know, like we're just on the right path.
Yeah. And you got to put yourself out there, and opportunities
There we
present
go.
themselves. And you have to take, like we were talking about this, I think I talked about it actually in a social media post today, like the idea of taking the risk of trying this and seeing if it's even going to work. And if I just look at how we set ourselves up, we set ourselves up to succeed because
Yeah.
our expectations were pretty low in the beginning. Like I actually started selling after we came back from our wedding. I started selling my paintings on eBay, and I was like, and we were both working in the restaurant industry at the time, and I was like, oh, if I can sell a painting and replace a shift, then all right, let's start trying that. And eventually, it started working, and I was replacing shifts, and I was painting in the kitchen, and then we started doing art shows, and one thing kept leading to another,
Mm.
and we just I think your dream is always something in the beginning, and it's going to become something that you never even imagined.
I agree 100% with that.
Yep.
And Piper, and not to disparage what you said about luck and serendipity, I'm going to go with Jared on this one. You guys put yourselves out there, but you also are open and have your eyes wide open for those opportunities. You're looking at things as positives as they come your way. The pandemic has killed a lot of businesses, as we know, but
Yeah.
some thrived. Yours took that leap in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, we could never have this opportunity again. We're doing it. And
Right.
and you took it and did it because it was there and you saw it. You didn't shriek back from it.
Totally.
Sure. And I also want to give a shout out and a lot of gratitude to all of our customers for helping us along on this journey. We
Right.
couldn't do what we do without them, and we wouldn't be where we are
Yeah.
without that support.
Yeah. And that's part of how it worked too, is we have tons of people who, just like you, who we met at art fairs,
Yeah.
who we miss seeing on the road. We miss watching people try on earrings and seeing them light up and being like, oh my God, those look better on you than we thought.
And
Yeah.
hearing their stories
And hearing their stories
the
and
way
stuff
they
like that.
connect to
Yeah.
our jewelry and those cars. And
That's probably the biggest thing we miss.
Mhm.
Yeah, is that connection with people. We get it a little bit,
Right.
like obviously through things like this
Yeah.
or through emails. We're we probably talk to people more now than we ever did at an art show, because you would do art shows and it'd be like 3 days, boom, you just talk to as many people as you possibly can. We're
Right.
talking to people every day now about what we do and what they're interested in and what's the new stuff coming out and can I get a preview and all that. Yeah, which is cool.
So I have two thoughts. I want to talk to you about community in your own community, but I also had the thought of virtual, like they do with Warby Parker. Wouldn't it be fun to have virtual try-ons of your jewelry online?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Or I could
Yeah,
pick
that's
that
a good
earring and
idea.
here's my face and oh yeah, that one. Oh,
Oh,
there's the one.
I bet you there's something out there that would do that, huh?
There's already stuff that exists. Yeah.
Yeah,
And you just
yeah,
so you would load your images in and then I don't
yeah.
know. It just
Yeah, that's a good idea.
you
I
don't
like
get to
it.
see them try it on, but at least they could see how they look.
Sure.
I think that's probably one of our biggest challenges with selling online. And we definitely have gone through like these ideas of, at first it was just a picture of the earrings. And we're like, yeah, people need to see it on. So Piper had to become a supermodel too. And she had to be modeling all the jewelry and wearing it. and we had to learn to take good photos and all
Yes.
that stuff. Yeah, that's a big challenge of trying to sell jewelry online is that it's like clothes. Clothes are hard to buy online because you want to try them on.
And you also need your girlfriends with you and your
Yeah.
friends and your husband or your whoever
Mm-hmm.
with you saying, "Oh, that's amazing. You need that."
Mm,
Yeah.
And
yeah.
and you miss that. And that is a big thing cuz I will admit in when I've been in your booth before, I would tell if I thought somebody looked great in one of your pieces, I would tell them there, "Oh my gosh, you need that."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's also it's that validation for I'm going to buy something I don't need,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
you
That
know,
happened all the time.
and
Yeah,
and
all the time.
people get people wound up and the stories, your stories of your pieces because you have so many elements and we're going to get to that in just a moment, but knowing where it came from and the journey to go get that car that time. Oh yeah, that was a muddy day and we were out there and we did this and oh, I was just getting over a cold, but I still wanted to go because we were told that there's this car there. Those stories also help us understand what goes behind the art. And your emails, you have both become great storytellers as far as story writers, and that
Hmm.
helps. The
Yeah.
stories that you've done, the videos that you've done, it helps
Yeah. Totally.
all of that. But yeah, missing like how can we get a virtual try-on event
Yeah.
where
I
people
like
can
that.
look
I
at each
like
other? It's like, oh yeah, let's all try these on. Hey, you're taller. Let's try the longer ones on you.
that
I
would be
just
cool if
wish
we
there
could
was
do
some
it to
way to
other
do
people.
that. Or to,
Yeah, I've always thought that I should have Piper do that, a live event where she tries stuff on.
you could get
She's
though, you could get two or three shills or regular customers or something that would be happy to be your supermodels. Send them a package that they'll send back to you, but send them a package.
oh,
Get
there
their
you go.
background all set up, being like a plain background or whatever, and all four of you go on.
Oh, there you
Like
go.
Mm.
different face shapes, ages, colors, and
Right.
it could be six people even, and just send like five pieces or something, and from necklaces to earrings to rings, bracelets, all of it, and they could do that. You can get the stills, you would have the video in high def
Yeah, that's a good
and use
idea.
that for
Mm-hmm.
other campaigns. So there's a thought.
I love it. We're brainstorming.
Yeah.
I can't help myself. I'm
So you're
so
signed up, just so you know.
Yeah.
happily. I would love though if you guys had a few minutes to first talk about the pile in front of you, and if you don't mind a small tour or just show some of the tools how you used to do it. You were saying with tin snips, and now what are you using? And then if we could show behind you, I know there's a table with lots of pieces, and it would be let's take this to go and we can go over there. You people listening on audio only, I'm sorry. This is definitely a video episode at this point forward. We'll say some other things you're going to like, but this is show and tell time.
All
Okay.
right.
All
Here,
right.
how about I'll talk about this pile and then I'll pick up the camera and we'll follow you around. You can point some stuff out. So this is where we work. We're gonna after we're done chatting with you, we got to make some jewelry. I got a couple pieces right here that we're working on. This is metal, and there's also metal all over the place. But this is what happens is our big mess is we got piles of colors here. So this is from a 1974. Let me go stop that. Excuse me. Keep talking. You
Sorry.
tell them what this is. Our robot bathroom.
So we generally start with when we go to the junkyard, we're buying a hood, a door, a fender. So as you can imagine, that's a large piece of metal. And then we bring those home and we cut those up into smaller usable pieces so that we can get to work. So that's really what you can see here in front of us is the pieces that we have cut into
Okay.
usable sizes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Little different colors here going on so that we
And
can
what's the one with the
also
ridges? That there's a piece that has some
oh,
ridges. What's that from? A motorhome or something?
No, this is actually like off a door panel.
Oh,
So old back in the 60s and stuff, they wouldn't have just like vinyl or fabric door panels. They had metal door panels. So I think this is off a pickup truck. And so is the door panel. So you can imagine you'd have the hole in here where the door handle would be, and then another hole where the wind
Yeah.
up would be, and then a little spot where the armrest would be. So yeah, that's just like cool texture that we really liked. So we
I like
grabbed
that a
that
lot.
piece. Yeah, yeah. This is off of a 1962 Rambler, and this was like pinstriping that was on the hood. So
Oh
they
my
had
God.
this was like a giant sticker that they had put on the hood, and then that was the color of the car, and then this is the patina that just happened over time. You know, we love stuff like this where you get a little bit of texture and different stuff happening because none of this is perfect. We would be way smarter business people if we bought perfect material and just stamped it out and we could just crank it out, but that's not the way it works, and that's not really what we like. The idea of like, how is this ever going to work out, or what can we find in here that's not just like blue or red? Like,
Right.
how can we find something special in it? We're making a custom piece right now for a collector who just loves like black and white stuff. And I don't know, I'm going to hold this up, but
Oh,
she
that's
really
very
wanted,
cool.
she wanted a patinaed piece with the white. So we found this, that piece right there. And we'll use
Wow.
these pieces to put together and shape and sand and weld, and we'll put it all together, and that'll end up being a piece. We love that kind of stuff.
How do you keep track then of the source, the car itself? Where are the, do you keep a log, I'm guessing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
You went and got
yeah.
stuff like you were just saying, I think that was, but you actually know somewhere you have it written down.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah.
Okay.
When we were doing shows, we would rattle it off so much we could remember what every color was and stuff like now. But not sometimes now that we're not doing that as often, we're definitely gonna have to go back to our list and be like, I swear this is a 64 Ford Fairlane, yeah, which this one actually is.
Yeah.
So yeah,
But we've collected so much metal over the years that it's can be a challenge to keep it all straight. We have 5 different yellows and 5 different reds, and a lot of times they look really similar, and it can be hard to tell them apart. But we definitely try to do our best because we, like we said, the story and the origin is just the history of that is really important for us to be able to pass on.
Well, you talk about the woman who said, this is what I really like doing. Do you get requests where people want their year or a specific car and year because
yeah,
they have a memory? Nostalgia
Mhm.
is a moneymaker. Nostalgia
Mm.
is powerful.
Mhm.
yeah,
And I would think you would get a lot of requests.
yeah.
We do. And generally, it's random if we happen to have that year in that car.
Right, right.
I think a lot of people think we just have like unlimited access to going out and getting a 1960.
Mustang.
Yeah. And that's not the case. If we happen to have it, great. Or if we happen to find it next time we're in the junkyard, even better. But
Yeah,
yeah, I just had a woman actually send me this huge email about her father who passed away in 2017. And it sounded like her and her dad had a really close relationship and bonded over cars since she was a
Oh,
child. And they had this old truck that she had named and loved, and her dad could never get rid of it because I think they had that bond and that connection. And she told me that she just happened to see a pair of earrings on our website that were the same make and model and even color of that truck. And she just had to buy them. And I thought it was so sweet. She said she wrapped them for herself and put them in a box and opened them just on Father's Day,
oh,
honor her
wow.
father. And it's stories like that that just really touch us and make this so worth doing.
So, car collectors listening and junkyard people and fans of Roadkill Garage and all those shows, if you have that POS car that's sitting there that will never run again, but has some good color, some good patina, I don't know. what if you got a nice piece of that over to Piper and Jared at Joyride Jewelry, and then you could
Absolutely.
custom order a piece from a car that meant something to you? How about
Yeah.
that kind of commission?
Yeah, we have done that
We have done
before.
that,
People
yeah.
have sent us metal specifically from a piece of their car, and
Oh, wow.
that's always really fun because that's obviously super special and meaningful to them.
Right.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
goodness. I love that.
Yeah.
So can we go on a little bit of a tour?
Sure.
Okay, let's keep the angle is perfect how you have it. Okay, so
Okay,
Piper,
here
take
we
us
go.
on a tour and show us some of the works in progress. So people that, again, haven't had a chance to go check out your jewelry yet can see the art that you're working on.
Yeah. All right.
Oh,
Come
wow.
this way.
Oh my
Yeah, here's
gosh.
another pile of scrap.
Oh, that's
Go ahead,
beautiful.
Piper.
And this is always fun too, because just some random pieces of metal and scrap it's always great for inspiration and inspiring new designs. And so this is a play table for sure.
Yeah, pieces that didn't work out, or we're not sure how they're going to be finished, or mistakes happen. So there's all kinds of cool little gems and stuff in here that probably people would be like, I want to buy that.
I would buy that in a heartbeat.
And again, another play table we have going on here, just designing.
Just inspiration, little
Okay.
pieces getting put together.
And some pieces actually we are finishing up for our next collection / newsletter release on our website.
Oh, look at the one that's like a landscape.
This guy?
Yes. That's beautiful.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
Yeah,
That's
some
super
great
cool. I
that
love the big
patina.
pieces. I'm a big fan
Yeah.
of large pieces.
They always look good on you.
Oh, you're sweet. And then, ooh, and
Well,
then
this is
look
some
at this.
more stuff. That's a bracelet, actually, that's going out to a customer. And then the rest of this is for our next collection too.
Wow. Oh my goodness. How fun.
Yeah.
So you don't change the colors, as we know. You
Correct.
do put a wax coating on it though to polish it.
We do a lot of cleaning and finishing because obviously you can imagine this metal doesn't look this nice when we first start with it. So yeah, that's
Disinfecting.
definitely part of the process is doing the finishing work and putting a clear coat
Mm-hmm.
on the metal to try to preserve that paint as
I will.
best we
Okay,
can.
so I have to admit, sometimes I'm a little too spontaneous gardening, and I have scratched a couple rings. And that is
Yeah.
because I did not take them off. I can wear everything else, but I've got to get the rings off when I'm using garden tools, and I do a lot of rough things in the garden. And so
Sure.
I have to, it's still art, guys. It's still jewelry, and it is one of a kind. And you can only think of a car gets scratched. Don't do things that would scratch a car.
Yeah, and I think that's hard because I think a lot of people think this is car metal and car paint, it's indestructible. And that's
No,
obviously not the case.
no,
Like you said, it's art, it's wearable art. Definitely different than sterling silver that
right.
you can wear any day, anytime. So yeah, I think that's an interesting concept maybe to sometimes get across to people, but at the same time we also really want people to wear our jewelry and enjoy our
Yes.
jewelry
And
and
it's
realize
comfortable.
that it is probably going to scratch and
Yeah, but I don't ruin
it's
the
gonna
bracelets. These are good. It's truly just the rings that I hurt, because I'm
yeah.
not dragging myself on the ground. I'm not going against brick walls and things with my arms. And come on, guys, just don't do what would scratch a car. Don't key yourself in so many words.
Right. Susan, I think we're going to hire you for our PR.
You know me, I'll work cheap. Just trade me some jewelry.
Perfect.
I have loved this visit. Guys, thank you for
Awesome.
making the time for me. I have
You got
wanted
it.
to hear more, and then because it has been such a huge transition for you that I've watched from afar, but watched that, and it felt like you were growing exponentially. It felt like this really took off suddenly,
Yeah, yeah,
even without
it
seeing
did.
you.
Yeah, the online thing, and then we did make a big move back in 2022 because we were working when we started doing this, we were working in our garage. We worked in our garage for how long was that? Since 2007 to 2022. So
It's a long
there
time.
15 years we were working in a garage next to the cars, next to the garden tools and stuff like that. So we really wanted to get an art studio, and we're like, we're artists. When are we going to have an extra 100 grand to build a studio
Right.
ever? We were lucky enough to buy a house in Bozeman, Montana 20 years ago, it and we sold it, and we were able to move to a smaller town, which we wanted to do anyways. And
Right.
we got this beautiful studio that we've been fixing up for a couple years, and then just the transition to being online, and how the inventory disappeared because we were doing it full time, and how we've changed directions to try to maintain the idea of us. We don't want to just become a production company and hire a
No.
bunch of people to make the same stuff. We want to stay artists. Like,
Right.
that's what's important to us. And making those special pieces and having collectors like you all over the country that we've met through art shows, and then word of mouth, and then obviously like online people. It might take people a few times to watch how this is really working, but we put out collections twice a month, and people love what we do, and chances are you're going to get more of a one of a kind these days than you would have in the past, because that's what we're doing and that's what we're passionate about.
I love it. Your emails brighten up my day. I get them.
Awesome.
I share them with my family in case they're looking for ideas for me. It's like you never have to wonder.
There you go.
You
There
can
you go.
always do that. Between that and my
Yeah,
garden, those are the things I do.
I know.
there you go.
All
Awesome.
right, guys. Thank you so much. This has been Susan Finch for Rooted in Revenue with my guests, Piper and Jared from Joyride Jewelry. Go visit them at joyridejewelry.com. Connect with me at LinkedIn. Find me at susanfinch.com and all your favorite places to hang out. I'll be there. Thanks.
Awesome.